Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Lauren here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Philip, and he's selling his dropshipping business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Philip. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks, Lauren. How are you?
Yeah, wonderful. I'm great, thanks. And I'm really excited to learn more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go through a brief summary of the business. As I mentioned, this is a dropshipping business. It's in the home niche, and it was created in May 2020. The average monthly revenue for the business is $68,758, and it makes an average of $10,905 per month in net profit. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 55030 to learn more about the business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that we know more about the business, let's have a look and see what assets are included in the sale. We have a Shopify account, the domain and all site content and files, an email list with over 300 subscribers, a Facebook social media page, SOPs, supplier relationships, and an ad agency introduction. So now that we know more about the business, let's hear from the seller. Philip, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, sure. So I started working with online businesses, trying to make money online maybe 5-6 years ago while I was working a 9-to-5 job, like a corporate career. And I was kind of looking for a way to get out of that. So I've got experience in a number of different online businesses, or business models, should I say, affiliate marketing, SEO, Kindle publishing, and also e-commerce with the dropshipping side of things as well. So, yeah, I've got a good general background from an online business perspective.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, so it sounds like you've got quite a bit of experience under your belt there. How did you come up with the idea to start this business in particular?
Yeah, so obviously with online businesses, sometimes depend on, for example, Amazon or Google with the algorithm updates and such things. This business model really attracted me because obviously you're running it via a Shopify store and you have full control of your paid ads, and you can also build an organic traffic source as well. So it offered a bit more diversity and less reliance on maybe the overarching control from Amazon or reliance on Amazon and Google. Yeah, that's what attracted me to this business model.
Yeah, that's a great point. Dropshipping allows you to run the business on your terms. So your business operates within the home niche. What drew you to selling this particular type of product?
Yeah, I think with this particular product and this particular business, I was just looking for a constant supply, really, a good supply of customers that are high net worth individuals looking for luxury premium goods, that are looking for a good level of service and a good quality product, which this is ideally suited for. So it's really dealing with people that have got surplus income to spend and they have passion about what they're buying as well, which I think helps to build a solid relationship and also create purchases in the future from those initial purchases that may be made as well by the customers. So we do see repeat purchases as well from our customers, which is good.
Yeah, so it sounds like you put a lot of thought into the business before you started it. Did you do any customer research before starting the business?
No, I mean, I did some background checks in terms of the demand, search term demand, keyword demand, volumes, competition on Google searches, etc. So I already knew that there was a demand for the kind of products that we're selling on the store. And it was a case of understanding the market, understanding who else was in the market in terms of other competitors, and working out how we could build a store that kind of met certain criteria that would really be attractive to customers looking to buy this kind of product.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly seems to have paid off. You've built a really successful business. What are the reasons that you're selling it now?
Yeah, I think rounding back to the initial points regarding why I got into this business model, we're always looking to diversify the income streams and, build businesses that you can one day kind of sell to maybe take some risk off the table, some chips off the table, and, take some of that money and then reinvest it. And whether that be in another online business or in other areas, I think it's reached a point now where it's really solid business. It's got steady, good growth year on year. And, there's plenty of room to go with it. But I think I'm looking to just take some chips off the table now and move on.
Yeah, well, that sounds like you've got some exciting times ahead of you. So, looking back to when you first started this business and the journey you've had with it, is there anything that you learned from this business that you would apply to future sites or businesses?
Yeah, I think the power of having, I think we've used this word a few times, a diversity of the traffic sources as well with this particular business, because you can get up and running quite quickly with paid advertising. And, if you have experience with managing paid advertising, then it's a really attractive business model that can get you going quite quickly. But then over the longer term, you can really look at building out the organic side of things and the social media side of things. There's definitely still work to be done from an organic perspective and also social media perspective. So somebody coming in can definitely enhance that position. It's very much a case of not just being reliant, like we said before, on one traffic source, whether that be from Google or from Amazon. So it's very attractive in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. So on the flip side of the coin, there's always a few ups and downs when you're experimenting with a new business model. If you had to go back and start this business venture again, is there anything that you would do differently the second time around?
Yeah, I think the aggressiveness, which sort of scaled the business, having more confidence once you start seeing those sales come in, that you can start pushing the paid ads and the budgets for the advertising quite hard. Obviously, you have to have the fundamental processes in place and the systems to ensure that you're still delivering on the customer orders and the quality of service. But I would say there's definitely lessons learned in terms of how fast you can scale a business such as this.
Yeah, it's easy to get ahead of yourself, especially in the early days. You touched a bit there on paid ads and social media and organic traffic. Can you walk me through where the majority of your traffic comes from?
Yeah, sure. So the majority of the traffic comes through, as we discussed, paid advertising, and that is split between the majority of the traffic coming from Google advertising. So that's shopping ads, text ads, retargeting, and then also an element coming from Bing ads as well. And then following on from there, really, you've got organic traffic, social media. The social media side of things is more of a retargeting strategy. So there's definitely opportunities there to test whether targeting an audience cold is also potentially something to look at. So yeah, that's really the breakdown of the traffic sources.
Okay, great. That word's popping up again of diversity. It sounds like you've really diversified those traffic sources very well.
Yeah, and that was important from my perspective because I have had experiences in the past where, as we've discussed before, things have not necessarily gone to plan with one particular source on a different business, and you have to kind of scramble around to try and understand what to do next. So that's really a big advantage of this particular business. It has solid traffic streams that are quite stable, and they've got long-term evidence of working very well. But then equally, there's also opportunity to continue to grow. So broaden out the Google ads, continue to improve the paid ads funnel. And then also alongside that, I think there's be a massive opportunity from an organic SEO perspective because there has been effort made to create a fundamental structure to allow for good ranking on the keywords that we're targeting. But there's definitely more that we could do and definitely more that the buyer could do in terms of link building and just building up the authority of the site from an SEO perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And that leads into my next question, which you've already answered in some ways, which is if you were to keep the business, what are some of the ways that you would grow it? Would you say that traffic would be your main focus point there?
Yeah, for sure. I think traffic, the organic side of things, targeting keywords, getting the rankings to improve, and then also looking to bring on additional suppliers so you can broaden out the products that you have on offer. That would be another area that I would look at as well.
Great. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential there. So, Philip, can you walk me through your role in this business? How many hours per week do you as the owner work on the business, and what sort of tasks do you do?
Yeah, so I would say working about 15 to 20 hours a week on the business at the moment. And the kind of tasks that I'd be looking at taking part in really is trying to close out sales over the phone. Mainly, obviously, the customers purchasing, as we discussed before, they're sort of high net worth individuals and they're looking to spend a fair amount of money on a purchase. And it really makes a difference if you've got a sales position in terms of phone calls, so taking calls from customers to influence and persuade to go with you in terms of making a purchase. So that is a part of the process. And then there is some general admin tasks that I do, but equally that could be very easily outsourced. I have got in place automation for all the processing. So Zapier is used quite extensively to automate email creation upon orders and things such as that. So there are definitely areas that could be outsourced, I think, and depending on the experience of the buyer, then I'm sure they can find ways to do that quite easily.
Yeah. So, speaking of outsourcing, do you have any employees with the business or freelancers that work alongside you?
Since the business has created, we have worked with writers and we've worked with an ad agency as well. There have been elements of the business that have been outsourced in terms of content creation and ad management. But as I say, nobody working day to day on the business. But to be honest with you, if I were to be going any further with the business, then I would be looking to bring somebody on board, certainly to manage the day to day admin side of the business, which I think is in a good position in terms of the systems and the processes. It's just a case of bringing somebody in to manage that and to work with that.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like with all those automation tools that you're using, that the business is quite streamlined in terms of being able to be run just by you alone.
Yeah, for sure. I think obviously I've got a background in process management and engineering, manufacturing. So I think some of those skills that I learned there have really transferred well to trying to streamline the processes in the business. And I'd be very happy to work with the buyer to help them identify opportunities to improve that kind of workflow.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I mean, on that note, how much support are you willing to offer buyers to help ease the transition?
Yeah, I'd be very willing to offer support to help the buyer with this transition of, the purchase, making sure that the store continues to run smoothly once they've transitioned. In terms of the time and the help that I can give, obviously we can talk about that at the relevant stage. But yeah, I'd be very open to help and we can agree upon that. But as we've discussed, I think there's a lot in place that makes the business fairly easy to run. There's not too many moving parts and there's a number of elements that have been automated. So hopefully it wouldn't be too complex for somebody coming on board. But as I say, I'd be more than happy to help.
That's fantastic. And I'm sure buyers will be very relieved to hear that. What would you say are the biggest risks that buyers should be aware of when purchasing this business?
Yeah, I think, again, rounding back to the initial points about diversity, you've always got the consideration of Google updates, in terms of algorithms, changes with how advertising is run via Google and Bing and how that works, because I know there's been some changes over the last year or two in terms of keywords and how they set up with that. But fundamentally speaking, I don't see too many big risks from that perspective. Obviously, you've always got the challenge of competitors entering the market. I think we've got into a position with a good amount of customer reviews and a good amount of history with the market now that we can compete very healthily certainly with newcomers to the market. So there's a few challenges I think the business might face in the future, but nothing too big, I wouldn't suggest.
Yeah, again, I think that's going to be very reassuring. So with regards to the sale of the business, would you be open to negotiating something like an earnout?
Yeah, I'd be open to negotiating on the sale in terms of an earnout. So yeah, obviously if that conversation occurred, then I'd be open to it.
Wonderful. And would you be willing to commit to a non-compete agreement?
Yes, I would.
Okay, perfect. So then before we wrap up the interview, we have the most important question, which is, if you had to put yourself into the shoes of a buyer, why do you think this is a business worth buying?
Yeah, I think this business is definitely worth buying from a buyer's perspective because, as we said, it's stable, it's got good growth. The foundations are there. The products that we sell are popular products that aren't going to fade away. They're fundamentally products that people are passionate about and have strong hobbies around, shall we say. So it's a strong market. I don't see it changing. And if anything, it's only going to grow. So I think there's a great business that's already earning a good income, but has great opportunity for growth. And yeah, it's really there for the taking.
Yes, wonderful. Those sound like very compelling reasons. I'm sure you'll get a lot of traction with this. Before we sign off, is there anything else that you'd like to share with the listeners that I might have missed?
Not really, other than obviously I'd be happy to discuss any details anybody wants to talk about directly if they were interested in the business. And hopefully today's recording has also helped as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Definitely. Buyers will get to know you a bit better and learn more about the business. Well, thank you very much for your time, Philip. It's really been wonderful talking to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks so much. All right, everyone, thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 55030. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.